Hello, and welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 on the most difficult rule set, starting as the Duke of Bohemia in 1066. I apologize for the rather abrupt ending to the last video. What happens, my computer crashed and also ended the recording, though frankly that may be a blessing in disguise as that episode had run long anyway. So our current status is we are on a pilgrimage, get more piety so we can buy more claims to territories that are necessary to restore the Roman Empire. Also in the last episode, we had multiple wars against scourge conquerors, all of which ended in our success, and indeed our crushing success. There had been a scourge conqueror who owned much of the Arabian, Persian area here. After we beat him twice, he seems to have lost the Scourge Conqueror trait, died, and then left his realm to be managed by either rather untalented heirs and in some cases even children. Once our pilgrimage is done, we'll be looking to mop up these areas. We also finally had some heirs I am satisfied with. One is our actual daughter. We can see satisfies the requirements to strengthen the blood. One of our older daughters, who had been our longtime designated heir, but who I had concerns with because she had not yet had children capable of taking the strong blood decision, rectified that omission, gave birth to two granddaughters, who, as you can see here, also highly qualified. So my plan now is to have my young daughter be our primary heir. If she dies, I'll go back to my older daughter on the idea that then my granddaughter would be able to take the strong blood decision. In the meantime, we will continue to our conquest to get the territories necessary for the Roman Empire. We are in a peasant revolt from the Orthodox because of all the territory that we conquered in and around the Byzantine Empire. Looking to finish off the last few groups of soldiers. This rebellion never really posed much of a concern, but it is annoying and we do want to finish it out. Pick that decision because it had 100% chance of getting my dog back. We'll take this one for the extra point of prowess. We're going up the whole of body tree so I can live long enough to educate my young daughter. Require me to get up to 78, which is doable, but do want to get all the health modifiers that will in fact allow us to do it. You can see the big chunk of the remaining rebels here. See if we can track them down. And when people offer me courtiers, I usually just accept them. It's always potentially useful to have another courtier. It could be a knight, take up a court position, something of that nature. These are where some of our crossbowmen are stationed, so we will build militia tents. We're upgrading our buildings because we discovered windmills at the end of the last game, which gives us another building slot, among other benefits. We still have not ended the rebellion yet. Looks like some of the last soldiers are landing here, so send our armies to head over there and take care of them. Orthodox rebellion. Okay, we will see if we can install another family member here. Might want someone with a physical health, strength trait who might survive this plague. So that's what we'll do. Check our courtiers to see if we can potentially lost some there. Automate our jester. Tax collector for our handful of clan vassals. We'll look at the Restore the Roman Empire decision again. Still need quite a bit of land in Italy. There's no way to do this without seriously angering the Pope. I see we need to get Tunis from the Omerids here, who have been led by Scourge Conquerors for quite a while. So that will give me another opportunity to do my favorite thing in these games, which is attack Scourge Conquerors. Let's take a look at our army to see if we can increase the size of our regiments. Looks like no. Curious. Guess we'll fight him. We do have a plus 13 prowess advantage on him. Usually for these, I go for the highest increase my likelihood of success, so long as that the increase to my success chance is more than the increase to my risk of injury. This is a particularly good one, and we are in fact victorious. Being an aspiring blade master is very powerful in duels, perhaps not surprisingly. So generally I don't imprison people here. They almost always involve one of your children or family members, and don't really want to imprison them or their courtiers, so you just let it go. Influence our daughter's personality. Want to give her temperate, since it's a virtue and has stewardship, health bonus. Just a overall good trait to have. Got the wise man trait on our pilgrimage we just completed, so we will make good use of that. This guy is a plus 100, so I'm losing 20, don't really care. Take healthy. Our decisions here are really whether to attack these two empires, which occupy de jure territory, the Byzantine Empire, or whether to attack over here and get Tunis, which we will also need for forming the Roman Empire. I think just in case we need more territory from these guys later for some reason, Let's go ahead and attack them now. It's a bit oddly formed war goal. Looks like this kingdom at some point extended to take part of Africa's de jure territory. That's a bit unfortunate because ideally I would have wanted some buffer between the Duchy of Tunis that we need to restore the Roman Empire and the remainder of this guy's empire. Talked about before that my empire is now large enough that the AI can attack my vassals without getting me involved directly. So I want a buffer, but we're not going to get it, so we will do this instead. I guess before I raise here, we should check exactly what this disease is. It is consumption, which is not good. Talked before about how consumption is arguably worse disease because it lasts for several years if you get it. So we'll not raise our armies there, but over here, and they will simply have a longer sail to Tunis. Back to build some more buildings. At this point, I probably don't need to raise all my levies or even as many levies as I am raising, but it doesn't really significantly hurt me at this point. I probably should start raising my men-at-arms and levies separately and have all my men-at-arms and like 20,000 levies or whatever. Since we are going against a Scourge Conqueror here, having a larger army could be helpful if he shows up and tries to contest us. With all my perks and being an exalted warlord, just flying through these sieges. So obviously a very nice change of pace from early in the game where takes 6 months to siege, and now it takes 12 days. There is our opponent's army. Okay, we will, to this siege, we will go say hello to them. Sieging surprisingly slowly for a Scourge Conqueror. Surprising, but I'll take it. Maybe they just have really poor siege equipment. We had a son die of typhus, unfortunately. This was the son that we often considered making our heir because he has had several children with great genetic traits. For example, this one obviously could take the strong blood decision. But we never actually made him our heir because of his terrible education, and unfortunately he is now deceased. Seems like there's a very serious typhus epidemic. I guess it's famine fever. Okay. Well, yes. So you see there is there is in fact a terrible typhus epidemic affecting largely what we would consider the traditional Byzantine Empire here. Means we may want to hold off a bit on attacking these two kingdoms until that severe plague goes away. Wouldn't want our ruler to get typhus and potentially die. Just completed another innovation. I think we go with banking here. So very soon we will have the late medieval era upon us, and we will start by researching primogeniture so that we can have that for when we become an administrative government. Those generally I take the option that loses extra stress, so long as it also brings you closer to becoming a friend with whoever is targeted. Again, at this point we don't want rivals, since rivals try to murder you. We have the option for a grand tournament, which is very helpful in terms of getting hostile looter experience, but as you can see we are already maxed out on hostile looter experience, and I talked in a few different early episodes about the importance of hostile looter experience, and here you can really see it. I mean, just a incredible array of benefits, particularly to your military power. And so when you're playing with these hardest possible rule set, very useful to get as much hostile experience as you can. Makes fighting wars against both the regular AI as well as the Scourge Conquerors much easier. So I like giving out territory to family members, since you can get opinion bonuses with them easier than with other rulers. We are starting to get low again on... Huh, that's a bit weird. Give it to this leprous mayor. Hopefully my family continues to hold it after he dies. Okay, now let's think about... I guess we don't have to immediately wage a war. Do want to educate this granddaughter, as we talked about before, in case our young daughter here dies. We have our older daughter, who is the mother of these two children, who could both satisfy the requirements for strong blood. I think let's take a grand tour for Majesty this time. Looking to get more renown. Generally looking to go to dukes instead of counts. Though counts are fine if we can't find dukes. And the reason why is just because dukes give more in tribute, so potentially more in terms of renown and prestige. A majesty tour. We need either of those. Don't really need prestige. We have a huge amount of prestige. We do want to bring medical equipment, given that we have all these plagues. And I think we do want to go as quickly as possible. We'll take this grand tour. Hopefully some of these plagues clear up. And after that, we can reevaluate what we want to do in terms of our next conquest. This choice gives us monthly lifestyle experiences, which is great. We've had another son die of consumption. To some extent unfortunate. Those we talked about before actually makes it more likely that we will have more children with our new wife, which could be beneficial. Being Czech, we do have house seniority, so all of our territories go to one heir. And here, normally, of course, that would be your oldest house member, but because we can designate our heirs, since we have absolute crown authority, we have designated our young daughter, who has the traits necessary to take the strong-blooded decision. Now there is a question of what lifestyle we want to pursue. I mean, I guess we could just go down theologian for the extra piety, given that that is what we need. So maybe we just finish off the complete learning tree. We have already finished off the complete martial trees. Now we don't really need to lose stress. We're at 0, so we'll take this bottom option. Don't like slaying the beast because you can lose a lot of gold. That is interesting. Where is he located? Well, okay. And you can see there that soon after one of our sons dying, our wife became pregnant. The way that works is generally if you're an emperor, you will have 8 or 9 living children. Your wife will get pregnant and give birth up till you have 8 or 9 living children. After that, you will stop, quote unquote, laying with each other. As a matter of course, there are still special events where you might lay with her, so it is possible to force a number of children over 8 or 9 if you're an emperor, but generally you're limited to that number. And that number will be less the lower rank you have. If you're a duke, it'll be 1 less, count 2 less. If you're a king, it'll be 1 less compared to an emperor, duke 2 less, count 3 less, and so forth. If you're a hegemon, it'll be 1 more. But basically that limit applies to living children, and so if you have older children that die, that opens up spots, so to speak, for you to have younger children, which is what is happening here. Just checking out the tips to see if there's anything we should take care of. See, with her traits, we want to marry her to someone beautiful. We'll modify contracts largely to give us more gold. Always want gold. Scootage is a new type of contract we now have access to that obviously helps us increase the amount of gold we have. Take the title of Africa that we just conquered. See if there are any other titles we can create. Venice, okay. Point in the last episode, we had hit our vassal limit, but we were able to fix that by equipping the Reichskrone. Another way to have fixed it would have been to create some of those duchy titles, hand them out, and have the appropriate counts go under the duchy. So, vassal limit should not be a problem. Again, we're working towards getting primogeniture and then adopting a centralized government, administrative government. So administrative government just has a massive amount of vassal limit. So we've seen this unfortunate decision many times. We'll take this to avoid stress and almost certainly get robbed. Guess we'll go with this development growth. I would prefer for you to become our vassal, which you will, so that works. Looks like something just broke up over here, at least potentially. See if nope. Guessing if we give him a gift, he will be willing. He does have quite an impressive beard, so he has earned his nickname. Huh. Oh, okay. I don't really see much benefit in joining that war, so we will pass. Usually I would say the execution is just to get the control. The AI is often very bad at establishing control, even though it's a very important concept. So often I don't join wars against my tributaries. I think I'll make an exception here simply because this guy is a scourge conqueror. And I like fighting against scourge conquerors. I should be able to manage things on my own. Where even is this? Okay. That is a very weird war. I'm not against a Scourge Conqueror. I think instead we'll just focus on this war here. As we continue on with our grand tour. See, I guess we have our, for a long time we had one of our brothers who also had a very high advantage, who could serve as our commander when we were doing other things. Looks like he must have died, which is a bit unfortunate, but we still have an incredibly powerful army and relatively good general, so I think we should be able to handle the Scourge Conqueror pretty easily. But you never know. It's a quite a good son. Obviously, he doesn't have a physical trait, so can't strengthen the blood. But other than that, very good. See, the Scourge Conqueror has not yet become the general of his armies. It still hasn't. His armies are disappearing. Usually I just save money there. Generally don't need popular opinion. So yeah. Obviously that did not go well for the Scourge Conqueror. He was stack wiped. Perhaps even more embarrassing, I didn't even notice when he became a general of these forces. Normally it makes a significant difference, but since Scourge Conquerors get a plus 35 advantage, but in his case it was not enough to help him against me. So here, I think we talked about this last episode. Normally I do not allow people, immigrants of other faiths, to sell my lands because they change the religion of the counties where they settle. So we'll instead say that we cannot accommodate them. Guess we'll take this blood blade even though we'll never use it. And in terms of fighting this war against the Scourge Conqueror, we talked before about you wanted to inflict losses on Scourge Conquerors, that if a Scourge Conqueror loses 3 wars, then they lose the Scourge Conqueror trait, which makes the game easier, prevents them from becoming too powerful, getting out of hand, especially against your successors who might be weaker than you. So here is a kind of annoying faction, which is nomadic. One of the things, part of the game rules that we have turned on, is all additional nomadic areas. So some of the Sahara, Arabia, some of these places are actually ruled by nomadics at the beginning of the game, and if that really is continued on. If you have nomadic counties, they will eventually periodically spawn raiders. The way to handle that is to go to ruler of the county, okay, that's sort of unfortunate. Normally there is an option here that will say aid tribal development. It's quite expensive. It's like 500 gold, but you can click on it and that will turn your vassals' nomadic holdings into feudal holdings. Unfortunately, I don't see that here. That is it's county. So I guess we'll just have to finish them off when they do rebel or start raiding. It's not a huge deal at this point in the game. The forces will be quite weak, but it can be annoying if in particular you have been through a coronation and taken the ensured peace oath, because them revolting, whatever, will reset the counter on that, the 5-year counter, which means you could lose a very large amount of time, and instead of conquering or fighting, whatever you want to do, as expanding your realm, you have to take more time to try to stay at peace and get the 5 years necessary to take the ensure peace decision. Again, just sieging here with this army to win the war. Okay, just talked about that. So the Duke of Ungvar should be able to call this war. And there we go. So we see we inflicted a loss on him, at least for a little period of time. He'll be in debt. Had to pay over 2,000 to the Duke of Ungvar. And so all worked out for us. Of course, perhaps the most annoying part of having this dogmatic faction could effectively hide a more serious faction that you need to deal with. You probably start swaying our handful of rebellious vassals. That decision, I mean, it's almost sort of a role play thing to give her the money. If we were low on money, we certainly would not do it. Just take the opinion hit from spurning the war widow. We do have plenty of gold, so we might as well do it. This one, take the gold, increase taxes, because I like gold. Avoid stress. Don't want to commit adultery. Gives you so many niece commit adultery, you wonder what it's trying to say. Make her temperate, for the same reasons we made our young daughter temperate. Which is basically just that it's a very good trait, virtuous. So our wife is having another child. Yes, we will. We're already at max majesty, so we'll need the bottom one. I guess we'll lose a little bit of stress. Also, almost at the maximum level of splendor. Some people talk about in terms of winning the game. The point is to maximize the progress of your overall dynasty, and that's best represented by the amount of renown you earn and your overall level of splendor. Which gets to the point where we talked about at the beginning of last episode that I think we are getting close to the end of the game simply because we have grown so powerful that we are no longer likely to be challenged by anyone, and at that point I generally think it's time to call the game a win, move on to the next game. And by game here I do mean game of Crusader Kings 3, as I do plan on playing additional campaigns of CK3 using the same rule set, of course just using different rulers. So this apocalyptic typhus plague, easy for me to say, is still raging over here in Anatolia. Which does make me concerned about sending my armies there. We could attack the Byzantines and take almost all of their territory. Not quite. I think let's do that. I guess they have some territory over here as well. Or is there other capitals over there? Alright, whatever. So we'll start by taking these bits. Before, we'll just raise a relatively limited number of levies. The Byzantine Emperor is not a scourge conqueror and doesn't really present much of a threat to us, so no reason to raise our full armies. Also, with the peasant levies that are unraised, we can send them to deal with the nomadic uprising whenever it happens. So I'll talk about that. Let's see if there's... Nope, still no option to aid his tribal development, so I'll move on. That was a quite good son, but not capable of taking the strong blood decisions, so fortunately for him, we probably aren't going to pay much attention to him. I guess we could pin him, but really focusing instead on our daughter here. Give her diligent, because diligent just has so many ability points. She has a total of 8. Really makes your characters more powerful. It's especially true early in the game when you don't have intelligent, genius, those other sorts of traits. The being diligent really makes a big difference into how many ability points your character has. As war ends, we'll check again on who is willing to be vassalized by us. Here's the rebellion by these nomads. Again, it's more of an annoyance than any sort of real concern. Let's raise some peasant levies and deal with them that way. Looking for what gives us the most piety. And another War 1. There's a significant border gore in Italy. We do see that the papacy is significantly expanded. I don't know that really makes much difference whether you take that decision. I think maybe let's not take it just in case it helps to have these territories to give us more counties toward usurping or taking the Byzantine Empire title. Speaking of usurping the Byzantine Empire title, I really thought there would be some sort of option to do that here like there normally is, but I'm just not seeing it. It's a bit unfortunate and annoying. Let's see if we can. I would like to be able to vassalize Spoleto, but that might not be feasible. The current ruler has a very particular set of personality traits that makes him really dislike us from vassalizing him. I think his personality traits give like a -50 to vassalization. If he didn't have those, then I don't think there would be much of a question that he would accept becoming part of our grand empire. So for this one, pretty much always summon the physician. I guess if your physician was terrible, maybe you wouldn't do it, but you want to try to have a good physician. think there are any plagues near our capital that we need to be worried about. Nope. It's quite impressive that this apocalyptic typhus plague is still around. Wonder if it caused or contributed to the collapse of this kingdom, which is actually a bit annoying because it means we'll have to fight multiple wars for it. Let's take another look at the requirements for restoring the Roman Empire. We are slowly getting there. Looks like there was a Scourge Conquerors, I recall, that was in this area. It seems to have collapsed. And the Omerids, who we defeated to take Africa, they were led by a Scourge Conqueror who seems to have died. And I guess he lost the Scourge Conqueror trait, maybe because we beat him. So speaking of Scourge Conquerors, let's take a little bit more of a systematic look to see which ones are around. Okay, we got this guy in Russia. Amer, which is this land over here, has long had a Scourge Conqueror. A little piece of land there. I actually don't know. Crystal is these Orchids, we fought against them earlier. Ostiaks are Mongols. Think over here. Let's take a look at. Oh, is that Castile? Okay. Guess I should have recognized that. Yep. So we'll see what happens. In a certain sense, he may actually advantage us if he attacks France, takes it over. Oh, he's Catholic. Never mind. Yep, well, we'll just see how it goes then. I originally had thought that he was Muslim, but he's not. If he was Muslim and he took over France, then obviously we could use a kingdom level holy war to take over France on our own, but that's not an option here. I think despite the lingering apocalyptic typhus fever, let's start cleaning up some of these territories. What we should also do is hand out these titles, get myself back under the domain limit, as well as the I'd assumed I would be over the duchy limit. I'm not sure I am. Guess when we fought that war earlier, we got a bunch of counties, but not duchies. really wish I knew where to look to usurp the Byzantine Empire. Do they even have any? Yeah, I guess they have that bit of territory within the de jure borders of the Byzantine Empire, but who's this guy attacking now? Okay, well, he's attacking the Byzantines. I think we fight this war, and then we should go up there to attack him, since he's a scourge conqueror, and also he is occupying some of the Byzantine territory. I have been hoping to reform the Roman Empire in this character's lifetime, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. Partly just because we need a lot of territory, and partly because I really haven't been perhaps as laser focused as I should have on that goal. Have attacked some scourge conquerors, even though they taking their land didn't necessarily advance that goal, but I attack scourge conquerors because it's fun, so that's the best reason. They need much troops. Almost certain to catch them here, and see we established a massive advantage now over regular AI. Here, arrogant, this is not very useful for anyone besides tribal characters. If you're tribal, that +1 prestige, particularly if it's early in the game, be very useful. So if you're tribal, might as well consider making your character arrogant. Callous, obviously it has negative opinion for courtly vassals, which hurts. It's a net 0. You get intrigue, you lose diplomacy. I would rather have diplomacy because I'm not much of an intrigue player. That leaves us with compassionate. Obviously, compassionate has some important vassal opinion gains. It's basically the flip side of callous. It gives you diplomacy, lose the intrigue. I'd rather have diplomacy. Most important, it's virtuous, which gives more piety, makes your vassals like you more. So here, compassionate is the easy choice. Can't yet give her another personality trait. Let's look at our granddaughter here. Could rename her from Eugenia to Plan B. I hope we don't have to play her, but just never know. This difficulty level, very easy to have a plague that wipes out large swaths of your family. Also noted here that we can build some more buildings. See, the highest tier windmills are quite expensive, but obviously we have gold. More titles to hand out. Run out of dynasty members, we'll just go to random people of our culture and faith. Doubt these people will escape us. Don't need anyone's help. Well, part of the army did escape us. I think we would see Genghis Khan soon, which theoretically is another source of challenge, though in my experience he's doesn't always happen that way. Specifically, sometimes while Genghis Khan gets some of his other traits, including golden lineage, he does not become a scourge conqueror for whatever reason. Without the scourge conqueror trait, he's simply nowhere near as powerful. And indeed, I've seen games where Genghis Khan spawns, and there's already a Mongol with the scourge conqueror trait. That other Mongol subjugates Genghis Khan, and really seems to be a bit of an embarrassing fate for him, given that he's supposed to be one of the most powerful threats and really sort of the big in-game challenge of CK3. But we'll see, when he spawns and what we want to do about it when it happens. Usually by recruiting you can get someone who is either good or excellent, so we'll go that way instead of just getting someone who's average. Can't grant because it's contested. Probably just white peace out of this war. Over here to deal with these armies, the last of our wars in this area. This guy, see if he survives. Consumption. army is starving, and he's in debt, which has led to a truly massive advantage for me. Quite a few battles. I wonder if we're getting closer to undefeated, which is a unique title you get. So I like getting witch if you can get it early on. You have a really small family, you can form a witch coven. Now it just isn't terribly useful. I won't be able to form a coven just because I have so many family members, so just turn it down. Yeah, I just do not know. Whatever. I would hope to be able to usurp Byzantine title, but doesn't look like that is an available option for whatever reason. And so I will not worry about it. Talked before about we'll just appoint. Since I run out of people from my own house, we'll just appoint people similar religion and culture. See that we just went over our vassal limit, but as we talked about earlier, we can form some duchy titles to address that. Check in again on our heirs. Aggressive attacker is the best of those. About to finish learning language of the Duke of Spoleto, which maybe will give us enough opinion or with him to be able to vassalize him. If not, we'll just have to fight the war. I have enough piety now to buy claims on territories. Not sure what is going on here. Looks like there is a jihad for Italy. I guess some more people want to be smacked down. Nope, still can't do it. He is Norman. This means I think the only Norman culture is over here. Obviously, it's part of France, so we can't easily increase it. Let's look again. He is starting to get old. So you can see there, right here, negative 50 vassalization acceptance from traits. So if he did not have those traits, he'd be willing to accept vassalization and at high taxes and levies. And the other option would be if we could get the empire, or the kingdom of Romania. That will annoy the Pope, but at this point, we don't really depend on the Pope's blessing for anything. Let's go ahead and just get contender here for the extra hostile looter experience for our heirs. Interesting, I don't think I'd seen the traitor nickname very often. I guess we should stop conquering and let this feudal jihad occur. Let's see. He is the leader. He's over there. One thing we certainly could do is bring the war to him instead of just waiting. Like finish off the war faster. So that's what we'll do. So build some more buildings to strengthen army and realm. Guess the counties that have actually joined the jihad are a bit scattered. Literally did not move the needle at all. Okay. Oh, he's in Jerusalem. All right, well, we can certainly head there. I initially looked at where the war leader was. It seemed to say he was in Baghdad, but apparently that was incorrect. No matter. Wherever he is, we will be there soon enough. Interestingly, we're still not earning any war score at all. victories. Well, I guess that's 2/3 at least of the jihadi army here, so this is quite a large battle, so let's take a look at it. Only 22 advantage, I guess because my supply is running low. No, actually. Okay, so they just have a lot of benefits. Alright, well, not going to save them. I'm a bit surprised that sieging down even their capital doesn't really seem to give much in the way of war score, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's keep defeating their armies, and we're at 80%, so okay, there's a measles outbreak, which is unfortunate. Actually, that's really unfortunate because, oh crap. Okay, well, player has measles. She still is in even good health. Obviously, measles, I shouldn't say obviously. She may know measles is very dangerous to children. Crap, their botched treatment. Well, we'll just have to hope they pull through. Put our position on control plagues. Try to become herbalist. Older daughters had died from measles, our son died from measles. He'll become a good fighter. We are at 100% war score. I guess the Basilius is the one who has to agree to end the war. Not exactly sure why. Okay. So that was the end of that jihad. We will enter seclusion immediately, which also gives us stress. Take our meager ransoms. Hopefully our children survive, particularly the daughter. We take the strong blood decision. If not, that'll be unfortunate. I usually just destroy the lower tier artifacts unless there's something particularly useful about them. So here, really just waiting until we see whether our excellent daughter dies. Hopefully she does not. Or if she recovers, excellent. She's not even blind or anything. So we did lose a few children there, including the granddaughter we were educating. Our daughter pulled through. Should now be immune to measles. So that is the upside of that. I think let's attack this Scourge Conqueror because, again, like attacking Scourge Conquerors, see if we can grab the biggest piece of territory we can here from him. And maybe let's do territory. Yeah, it's not a lot really. Even though it's not a lot, let's do the territory that's inside the de jure Byzantine Empire. Indeed, I am so confident that we will also take on these guys inside the de jure Byzantine Empire borders. Should catch his armies here. Their misery. Indeed. Stack wiped his armies and captured him. So that's the end of that war. I think we'll just give this to our son, our grandson. Did put him one over the limit, but I'm sure we'll figure out what to do with it. Then rush back and attack the Scourge Conqueror's armies before they siege down too much stuff, hopefully. Get rid of Biden when we get a good opportunity. Quickly unsiege this. Stress because of mold. Do max out our dynasty banner. Didn't necessarily want to chase his army because sometimes it will try to lead you on a wild goose chase. We are above our domain limit. we will want to create some more titles. Looks like we are the late medieval era. So we will now go for primogeniture. Once we get the primogeniture, then we will convert to an administrative government type. We may need to even do it before then, since it does look like we're starting to really bump up against our vassal limit. Make sure there are no plagues, and we'll end the capital isolation. Let us check on our daughter again. Make sure we're doing a good job of educating her. Since she is going to be a martial character, let's try to make her brave. Do it. She may end up with only 3 personality traits instead of 4. That's okay. We'll try to do it again when she's 15. And we caught the Scourge Conqueror's army. As you can see, he's feeding his army into a piecemeal, like we talked about before. Obviously, it's not a great way to fight. Goes to the importance of the living off the land perk in the military tree, which helps you keep your armies together instead of needing to keep them in little groups like he was doing for supply reasons. Oh, okay. So we're not going to vassalize anyone if we're above our vassal limit, I guess. I am curious if we have Yes, we are. Wonder if those stack. Yes, they do stack. That's interesting. Which means we're going to be in worse shape when they run off. And we've already held a Grand Tour, okay. Let's see if we have... Oh, there we go. So that will solve our vassal limit problems. Everyone wants to admire our bear hide. I think we will hold a feast. We haven't done that in quite a while. Need to de-stress. Should help vassal opinion. Don't need any travel options. Go. I would really like to just vassalize this guy from Spoleto. That would save some time, and in particular save piety from otherwise buying claims on those duchies, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So instead we will do things the hard way. Also, we've been going quite a while here, so after this feast is done, we'll be calling this episode. So this has some significant penalties, but she is going to be our heir, so we do want her to be as powerful a character as possible. So we'll take that decision for her. Don't think there's anything else we can do to improve her at the moment. Here, just upgrading our economic buildings, and generally when we're building new buildings, looking for military buildings, because obviously we are doing quite well in terms of our economy. One thing I haven't really done is looked into creating a new religion. The reason for that is that would be one of the few ways at this point it would really tank the game. If I made some great religious change, all of my Catholic counties will be rebelling against me. I just have such a massive rebellion that won't be able to put all the peasants down before they are able to outsiege me. But one way to get around that is if you get a mythical holy legend here, you can do evangelize the realm, which changes a significant portion of the realm to your current religion. The problem is we are playing with very high legend cost and very low legend spread as part of playing on the hardest possible rule set. You can see just to start it is 300 a month, and once we get up to mythical, it'll be 800 a month, which is actually more than our current net income. And so, and again, the spread is very low, so we're going to have to maintain that legend for quite a while. So you're going to be looking at 40,000 gold, something in that range. And that's just a lot to bear, even for our current economy. Okay, so again, just continuing to make progress toward restoring the Roman Empire. Chances are that once I've done that and we've secured the succession of our daughter, that I will call this game a victory. Possible it could happen even as soon as next episode. We'll talk a bit about then. If people want me to keep playing, I'm happy to do that. But from my perspective, I think we've really gotten to the point where the challenge of the game is gone. And in my case, unless someone is interested in seeing the game continue, I'd be happy to start another game using the same rule sets, and we'll see how that plays out from a different angle. But as for now, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you tune in again.